January 2021 was pretty eventful in Washington, D.C. But here in Idaho, things started off pretty slow at the beginning of the year. Much of the focus was on rolling out the COVID vaccine across the state.
Safely and successfully.
But overall, Idaho was pretty unsuccessful. For most of the year, we were the second least vaccinated state in the U.S. And as of December 29th, we are the least vaxxed of the 50 states. In February, the Boise Police Department sent out their annual summary and reported a 9% decrease in crime overall here in Boise. Crimes this year are about half of what they were a decade ago, but they also reported a 200% increase in identity theft. In the meantime, the housing market began to really crank up here in February, eventually leading to a dizzying increase in house prices over the next few months. The median price of homes in February was about $452,000. 5 months later, it had skyrocketed 90,000 more, eventually reaching $540,000. Those 5 months were the craziest we have ever seen here in the Boise housing market. March 6th marked 1 year since the first confirmed case of COVID here in Idaho. And by March 24th, all Idahoans aged 16 and older were able to get a vaccine here in the state. But with the federal government hyping up the vaccine and warming up to the idea of vaccine passports, Governor Brad Little banned the use of vaccine passports here in Idaho, saying,
"We should not violate Idahoans' personal freedoms.
All Idahoans should be given the choice to receive the vaccine, not forced." In the middle of all of that national hype, a little drop of joy fell here in Boise. 3 little sand cats were born in the Boise Zoo on April 4th. They're super cute. The pro-life movement got a really big win on April 27th when Governor Brad Little signed the fetal heartbeat bill into law. This bill protects the most innocent lives of all, the preborn, by banning abortions after a baby's heart is detected, which is about 5 to 6 weeks after conception. On May 12th, Governor Brad Little joined 19 other governors calling on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to act on the border crisis. The open border policy had begun to affect Idaho. According to recent sources, 96% of all drugs in Idaho were coming from Mexico. But here in Idaho at the end of May, sparks began to fly between the governor and the lieutenant governor. On May 27th, Governor Brad Little left the state of Idaho for just 24 hours. And according to past precedent, the Lieutenant Governor, Janice McGeehan, remained in the state acting as governor. But during that time, she issued an executive order forbidding the issuing of any mask mandate across the state. The very next day, Governor Little returned to the state and repealed it, calling the act a political stunt, irresponsible, and an abuse of power. In his view, McGeehan's executive order took away the power from local jurisdictions to determine how they should best navigate the pandemic. Good news came on June 9th when the governor reported that revenues were $580 million more than forecasted. May was the best month of state revenues on record in the history of Idaho. According to the governor, fiscal conservatism is what led to Idaho's booming economy. On June 15th, the city of Boise approved a bill to become carbon neutral by 2050. And on June 29th, Governor Little joined 19 other governors opposing Biden's efforts to pack the Supreme Court. The month of July was the hottest July on record in the state. We actually smashed a number of heat records. We had over 45 days of over 90-degree weather, the longest streak since 1875. And this extreme heat wave resulted in
Extreme drought.
one of the worst droughts we have seen here in the Gem State. On July 1st, Governor Brad Little pledged to send 5 Idaho state troopers to the Arizona border in order to help secure the border. They ended up going on a 3-week mission down to the border in order to see how they can help prevent illegal crossings into the country and to see how Boise can better cope with the increase in drugs here in Idaho, thanks to Biden's incompetency on the border. On July 14th, Idaho began to give law enforcement officers $1,000 bonuses in a Defend the Police campaign. While other states were defunding their police departments, Idaho wanted to show that it defends the police. More good news on July 20th. Idaho ended its fiscal year with a $900 million surplus, the largest surplus in state history. And to round off the month, on July 29th, Governor Brad Little signed an amicus brief calling on the Supreme Court to overrule Roe versus Wade. Their argument was that the federal government does not have the right to force states to legalize abortion. In August, a disturbing increase in COVID numbers came to pass here. Hospitals began to be overwhelmed by COVID patients, and on August 26th, the governor began the process of opening monoclonal antibody treatment centers across the state in order to cope with the problem. Joe Biden visited Boise on September 13th. Here in Idaho, though, nobody knew he was here, because after landing at the Boise airport, he went straight to the fire center in Boise, and then right back to the Boise airport, and off he sailed on Air Force One, waving goodbye to Idaho and talking about how much he loved the gem state. Throughout September and October, hospitals continued to be overwhelmed by COVID cases here in the state. As a result, Idaho had to activate crisis standards of care in all hospitals across the state on September 16th, and that continued until November 22nd. 5 Afghan refugees arrived in Boise on October 5th. These were the first of about 400 projected to be resettled here in Boise after Biden's Afghanistan withdrawal. That same day, sparks began to fly again between the governor and the lieutenant governor. Governor Brad Little left the state again for the day, and Janice McGeehan, acting as governor, issued another executive order, this time banning the issuing of any vaccine mandate across the state. This year ended with very little love between the governor and the lieutenant governor. Both of them are running for governor in November of this coming year, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on my analysis and coverage of that race. It's gonna be interesting. A shocking tragedy happened here in Boise on October 25th. A gunman opened fire at the Boise Town Square Mall, killing 2 people and injuring 5, something unprecedented here in the history of the Treasure Valley. In late October and early November, lawsuits against the federal government began to be filed here in Idaho. On October 29th, Idaho joined a lawsuit challenging Biden's vaccine mandate for federal contractors. 5 days later, Idaho announced that they were suing the federal government over the OSHA mandate. This was Biden's executive order requiring all private companies with 100 or more employees to require their employees to get vaccinated. And 12 days after that, Governor Little announced that Idaho was joining another lawsuit challenging Biden's vaccine mandate for all healthcare workers across the United States. A bit of silly news came on November 17th. The Boise Capitol received its annual Christmas tree, but just one problem. Nobody in the city bothered to pull a tree cutting permit. And according to city law, there's a maximum $1,000 fine for doing that. But somehow the city got out of it and they ended up not fining themselves. By the end of December, Idaho was still going strong. The unemployment rate had dropped again, and several studies came out showing that Idaho was in a really good position in several ways. One study showed that Idaho tops the list of states with the most freedoms, and another study showed that Idaho ranked number 4 in its overall response to the pandemic. So there you have it. 2022 definitely had its ups and downs. We had some really big economic wins here in Idaho. We're definitely on an upward trajectory. But we also had some setbacks and losses. Many of us lost loved ones throughout this past year. So as you head into 2022, yes, fight for what you believe in, make an impact, try to make life better for everybody, but also don't forget to enjoy life along the way. Life is short. Enjoy every moment of it, and don't forget to see the amazing things that you already have right now. Happy New Year.